Today, we are taking a deep dive into one of the most persistent and, frankly, guilt-inducing concepts in modern life: discipline.
Oh, absolutely.
For years, you've been told that a lack of it is some kind of moral failure, a weak, shameful trait that means you just don't want success badly enough.
And, if we look across the sources, that view is just completely misguided.
Misguided how?
Well, what few people realize is that discipline, as we usually understand it, this idea of just using sheer willpower, it goes directly against the way the human brain is neurobiologically designed to work.
So it's not a character flaw.
No, not at all. It's biology. It's just biology.
Okay, let's unpack that right away, this core conflict. Because on one hand, we have a brain that is fundamentally structured like a lazy hunter-gatherer?
Exactly. It's all about immediate survival,
Mm-hmm.
conserving energy, seeking the quickest possible rewards. That's its prime directive.
But the world we live in now demands the total opposite. It wants us to be a focused and resilient supercomputer, planning 5 years out, deferring gratification all the time.
That is the impossible gap right there. When you try to force discipline through just mental strength, you're asking this ancient survival mechanism to ignore millions of years of programming.
All based on what? A little bit of motivation you felt on a Sunday night?
Precisely. That battle is scientifically rigged against you from the start.
So our mission for this deep dive is to completely dismantle that illusion, the idea that self-control is the secret key.
We're going to dig into this profound insight from people like James Clear and others in behavioral science.
Which is?
Real discipline doesn't come from force. It comes from design. The most consistent people, they're not fighting their brain. They're just smarter about manipulating their environment to make the right choice the easiest one.
Okay, so let's move from the why it fails to the how. Why is relying on willpower a battle we are just destined to lose? Why does that big surge of motivation on Monday just evaporate by Tuesday morning?
It all comes back to our evolutionary programming.
Right.
For the vast, vast majority of human history, the priority was simple. Survive. Survive in an environment of scarcity and danger.
So your brain adapted to that world.
It adapted perfectly. It learned to prioritize immediate guaranteed rewards and, crucially, to conserve energy.
Give me an example.
Think about it. Eating the food you find right now is way better than saving it for later, because tomorrow it might be gone or someone else might take it.
Okay, makes sense.
Avoiding effort conserves calories for when you absolutely need them, to run from a predator or to fight.
Yeah.
Your brain was calibrated to seek the quickest, most pleasurable, and least costly path. It was survival genius in that context.
And that original software is still running in the background, even when we're sitting at a desk surrounded by, a fridge full of food?
It's absolutely still running. When you decide to wake up early for the gym, your brain doesn't see future health benefits. It interprets that as a direct threat to comfort and energy conservation. It's effort without an immediate reward.
So it fights back.
It fights back. Or, when you sit down to work on a really difficult project, your brain immediately suggests opening social media. Why? Because the pleasure there is instant. It's predictable. It's guaranteed.
The brain just hates tasks with high effort and a delayed payoff.
It despises them. So every time you hit snooze or you procrastinate, your brain isn't really being lazy. It's actually just being efficient.
That's a huge reframe. It's not lazy, it's efficient.
Exactly. It's optimized for efficiency right now.
Yeah.
And this is what neuroscience calls cognitive ease, the brain's deep inherent tendency to seek the path of least resistance.
And this choice, it happens unconsciously, right, before we even really think about it.
In milliseconds.
Yeah.
Before your conscious, rational brain even gets a chance to weigh in.
Wow. So this isn't a character flaw, it's a design conflict. And one side, the survival side, is millions of years old and acts way faster than the other.
That's the conflict. Your brain wants to survive now, you want to evolve later. And as long as those two are at odds, you're going to feel frustrated and guilty. It's inevitable.
Okay, so if motivation is overrated and willpower is basically a battery that dies really quickly, where does real consistency come from? This is where it gets really good.
It really is. The central insight from all the sources is this. Environment is more important than motivation.
Yeah, again.
Environment is more important than motivation. Constantly relying on willpower means you're just fighting the natural structure of your own brain over and over again.
And that self-control it's fragile.
Incredibly fragile. It just crumbles the moment it faces a poorly designed environment. That environment acts like a constant drain on its power.
Let's use that classic scenario. You wake up, you feel so determined to work out.
We've all been there. But then Your workout clothes are crumpled in a drawer somewhere, your sneakers are missing, and, this is the critical part, your phone is already in your hand with Instagram open.
Right. So the friction to start working out is huge?
But the friction to scroll, it's zero. It's less than zero.
The choice is no longer between the good path and the bad path. It's between what is immediately easy and available versus what is hidden and laborious.
Your environment has already made the choice for you before you even consciously started your day.
So this leads us to this key principle then. Choice architecture.
Yes, it's the idea that our behavior is fundamentally shaped by what is closest, what's most accessible, and what's most visible. We aren't really strong-willed creatures.
We're context-dependent creatures.
Exactly. It's not about finding more grit. It's about engineering your environment.
I love this because it shows how subtle these manipulations can be. Let's talk about that cafeteria study.
The hospital cafeteria,
Yeah.
it's a perfect example. They didn't put up posters telling staff to eat healthier.
No mandates, no lectures.
None of that. They simply changed the choice architecture. They put bottles of water right next to the cash registers, making them super visible and easy to grab.
And what happened?
Water consumption shot up by 25%. Soda consumption went down, all without a single person having to use willpower.
Because they reduced the friction for the good choice to basically zero.
And you have to apply that same kind of behavioral engineering to your own life. You want to read more, don't hide the book on a shelf, leave it on your pillow.
Or right next to the coffee maker.
Perfect. You want to practice guitar, don't keep it in its case in the closet. Leave it on a stand in the middle of your living room.
But wait a second, isn't that just tricking yourself? Is this real lasting change, or is it just scaffolding that falls apart the moment my routine gets disrupted, like when I travel?
That is a critical question.
Yeah.
And the answer is no. It's not about tricking yourself. It's about preparation. It's about making the desired behavior the default behavior. Look, if you are constantly spending energy just fighting your environment, you have no energy left for the actual hard work.
So discipline comes from preparation, not effort.
Exactly. Disciplined people are just smarter in how they set up their space and their rituals. They make good behavior almost inevitable, even when life gets messy. You design a system where the right thing is easier than the wrong thing.
So we've removed the obstacles, we've reduced the friction. How do we now make these desirable habits truly automatic? We need to hack the brain's autopilot system.
This is where we get into habit stacking. The human brain runs on these established loops: a cue, a routine, and a reward.
Right. These are the things we do without thinking.
Without any effort at all. Making coffee when you walk into the kitchen, checking your phone when you sit on the couch. These are running on autopilot.
And the genius of stacking is to just piggyback on that existing momentum.
Exactly. Instead of creating a brand new habit from scratch, which takes a ton of energy to get started, you just bolt the new action onto an existing automatic one. You leverage a cue that's already deeply rooted in your brain.
So you're borrowing the energy from an established behavior. Give us the specific formula.
The formula is simple, but it has to be rigid. After my existing habit, I will do my new habit.
And the specificity is key, right?
It's everything. For example, after I brush my teeth, which is an automatic existing cue, I will meditate for 2 minutes, a new low-friction action.
Or, after I make my morning coffee,
I will write 1 sentence in my journal. Perfect.
this makes so much sense. It eliminates the biggest barrier to any new behavior, which is just starting.
The activation energy. It requires so much more mental energy to start something than to keep it going.
Habit stacking just bypasses that whole problem by creating momentum. And momentum is way more reliable than willpower.
But you have to be precise with the strategy. There are rules.
Okay, what are they?
First, you have to start incredibly small. The new action has to be short, ideally less than 2 minutes at first.
Okay, less than 2 minutes.
Second, it has to be specific, not read more, but read 1 page. And third, most importantly, it has to be immediate. It must happen right after the previous habit with no pause.
Because if you pause, the saboteur brain jumps back in.
The saboteur jumps in and suggests you check your email really quickly. And then it's all over.
These small stacks, then, they're the foundation. But even with all of this, people still procrastinate. They still feel lazy. If this design approach is so powerful, why does that feeling persist?
We absolutely have to challenge that feeling, because the narrative that procrastination equals laziness is the biggest driver of self-sabotage there is.
So what is it then?
Procrastination is not a personality flaw. It is a symptom. It's a clear signal that your systems are poorly designed.
So when I procrastinate, it's not that I don't want to do the thing.
It's that the action, as it's currently designed, requires too much effort, it's unattractive, or it lacks an immediate reward.
It's just neuroscience playing out in real time.
It's pure evolutionary logic. Studying for an exam is hard. It offers an abstract reward months from now. Opening TikTok, no effort, immediate dopamine hits. For that efficiency-obsessed hunter-gatherer brain, the choice isn't just obvious.
It's inevitable.
It's inevitable.
Okay, so we need to redesign the task itself. This brings us to the 4 invisible laws of behavior change, the pillars for making any habit stick.
Exactly. Let's break them down using that difficult studying habit you keep putting off.
Perfect. Law number 1, make it obvious. How does that work here?
It means removing all the mental barriers.
Ah,
For studying, it means the book is already open on your desk to the right page. The laptop is already on with the right application open. You should not have to decide what to do first.
because what's visible gets done.
What's visible gets done.
Okay, but what about a task I just genuinely hate? That's where law 2, make it attractive, sounds a bit like wishful thinking. Do I really have to love writing that report?
No, you don't have to love the report. You just have to love what comes right before it. You associate the start of the habit with something you already enjoy.
That's temptation bundling.
That's temptation bundling. Maybe you only allow yourself to drink your favorite fancy coffee while you're reviewing the first page. Or you only listen to a specific, amazing playlist while you're working. You're baiting the hook.
I like that. Okay, that leads to law 3. Make it easy. How do you make a fundamentally hard task like writing a 20-page report easy?
You shrink it. You reduce the friction to its simplest possible form. You don't plan to work for an hour. You plan to work for just 5 minutes.
Just 5 minutes.
Or just write the title and 3 bullet points. Make it so tiny it feels almost ridiculous not to do it. You lower the bar so much you just step over it effortlessly, and that creates momentum.
And finally, law 4. Make it satisfying. The evolutionary brain needs that immediate win.
Yes, so you need to give it 1. When you finish your 5 minutes of work, you need an immediate, tangible sense of completion. Put a big X on a calendar. Move a paperclip from one jar to another, something physical. That little action tells your brain, hey, we did it, you succeeded. That closes the habit loop and makes your brain want to do it again tomorrow.
The person didn't get stronger, they just got smarter. They designed the behavior into their life.
And procrastination stops being a mystery. It becomes a diagnostic tool. If you're procrastinating, you just ask, is it obvious? Is it attractive? Is it easy? Is it satisfying? If the answer to any of those is no, you have a design problem, not a discipline problem.
This raises a really important final question then. After all this engineering, what if I still truly hate the task? I still detest running. Do I really need to fall in love with the routine?
And the truth here is, I think, the most liberating insight of all.
Go on.
You don't need to discipline. You just need to make it inevitable.
So that whole love the journey thing.
It's demotivating for a lot of people, and it's often false. Highly productive people do not wake up every morning feeling excited about every single task on their list.
Well, what do they have that others don't?
They have a robust structure, a system that ensures the right things happen even when, especially when they don't feel like it. They live in the realm of systems, not the realm of motivation.
Let's go back to that running scenario. Detail the system that makes it inevitable.
Okay, 9 out of 10 mornings, your body wants more sleep and your mind will give you 1,000 good excuses. But the system is this. The running clothes are already laid out. The phone alarm is across the room, so you have to physically get out of bed to turn it off.
Okay, I'm up.
Your high-energy playlist is queued up and ready to go. The keys are hanging on your gym bag by the door. The running itself might still suck.
But getting out the door
is now the path of least resistance. The decision was made the night before. You took the choice away from your tired, unmotivated morning self.
And that's the difference between living in the realm of motivation, which is so unstable,
And the realm of systems, where the desired action is just the automatic default choice.
which is why James Clear says,
You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Your future isn't defined by your big intentions. It's defined by your automated daily habits.
so if we connect all of this to the bigger picture, the final level of transformation isn't just about behavior change, is it? It's about identity.
It's about changing who you decide to be. At the highest level, discipline is just a side effect. It's a natural consequence of having an aligned system, an optimized environment, and a solid identity.
True transformation happens when you stop seeing yourself as someone who needs to work out.
And you start seeing yourself as, I am an athlete. Identity shapes your habits, and then those successful habits reinforce that new identity. It's a powerful feedback loop.
And the practical way to build that identity is through the vote analogy.
Exactly. Every small daily decision is a vote for your new identity. Every time you meditate for 2 minutes or read one page instead of scrolling, you are casting a vote for the person you want to become.
You're literally telling yourself, I am the kind of person who does what they say they're going to do.
And when that identity begins to shift, the behavior follows naturally, effortlessly.
So what does this all mean for you listening right now?
It means stop blaming yourself for not being strong enough. Start punishing yourself for not having infinite willpower. You are not the problem. Your system is the problem.
Start building the system that makes discipline inevitable.
You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent enough to let the system do the work for you.
So if discipline is just a reflection of the system you've built, here's your challenge. Think about an existing habit that's already completely automatic. Maybe it's making your coffee or getting into your car. What one immediate 2-minute step could you stack onto that existing habit today to cast the first vote for your new identity? Start small, design the system, and let inevitability take over. We'll see you on the next deep dive.